Hey guys, welcome back to Taking Notes Podcast with moi, your host, Forlorn. I guess the whole theme of this week was confidence to express yourself authentically. Rick Rubin was talking about how just expressing yourself authentically, like most times, or like with him, it just kind of naturally resonated for people. It's not like he was like trying to become big or trying to do it for anyone. He was just doing things that felt good for him and were authentic expressions of him and how he saw the world. And this is what he was saying. He was like, it's just like creating art is just showing the world your perspective on things, and it's kind of like their choice if they are interested in that new perspective or not. But you're creating with the intention of sharing your perspective. It's not with the intention of sharing your perspective so that other people will also agree with your perspective. It's just sharing your perspective, and the rest is up to chance. I think that can be applied to like just the whole conversation of like fear of judgment and like remedying that, because it's like I'm scared that they'll think I'm weird or I'm too much or whatever. But it's like you're expressing yourself for yourself. And what I mean by that is like you're expressing yourself so you don't feel that feeling of just like tightness and like you're holding so much of yourself back. Like you're expressing yourself so that you can feel that freedom, and how other people may judge you or how other people may perceive that authentic version of yourself. It's up to chance. It's not really something that you can control, and it really doesn't even matter. It's not even any of your business because you fulfilled what you intended to do, which was to express yourself. It's not any of your business what other people think of you. And it's like there's no point, like there's no fulfillment. I mean, for me at least, it's not a true fulfillment to be liked by a certain person, you know? Like I feel more fulfilled liking myself and liking how I show up, like loving how I show up throughout the day and throughout my life. I think that as like teens or whatever, there's so much judgment around like being cringe, or there's just so much more judgment around being a certain way, and I think it makes it so much harder to have the courage and the confidence to express yourself, because you're like, well, I don't want to be cringe, I don't want to appear like, what are things people say, like a pick me. I don't like, we have all these labels for like certain personalities or whatever. It's like, wait, I don't want to fit into that personality that I saw on TikTok. Like, oh, let me hold back because like it's too much. And my whole thing is like when you watch those old videos of like, not old videos, when you watch those interviews of like old people getting interviewed, and it's like the one thing that they regret is caring so much about what other people thought. And it's like they're 80 now, and it's like, what was I caring so much for? Like I spent all my life trying to be this person for other people, and I don't even know, I don't even remember their names anymore. And it's like years of my life wasted that I can never get back because I was trying to please someone that I don't even remember exists, that I literally forget exists for years on end. And I think it's so interesting because when I wrote the like draft for this episode, and I was gonna get my whole backstory, and I was gonna, what was I gonna do? And I was gonna give all this advice, and like literally just like reading it, I was like, this does not speak to me. I feel like everybody always says this. And I literally have been recording for about 2 hours. And the first hour was spent just like trying to get into the feeling of what I had written down in my podcast notebook. And like I just knew I wasn't feeling it. And it was so much like tension speaking it. And it's just my intuition. She'd be speaking and I'd be trying to power through. And she's like, no, you need to sit down. And so I sat down. With like creativity, I feel like something I'm learning is to stop being so rigid and thinking that, like, oh, I had this idea and I have to keep going with that same idea. Like, even like filming this podcast episode, like, I had this idea of how I wanted to do this episode. And as I was doing it, I was realizing that, like, this isn't like speaking to my heart. Like, saying it, it feels very empty. And like, what I needed to do was just literally just start talking. Like, literally, I do it when I journal. I just journal out what I'm thinking. Sometimes you just gotta let it flow and go untraditional routes and approach things in new ways. And that's a whole nother life lesson. Okay, I'm just going, like, I don't know, expanding more. But, like, in general, when you think that life has to be as, like, one way, like, you planned it to be this way and you set your intentions and whatever, and it's like you feel like you have to keep going with that, even though it doesn't feel right, pausing for a second and rerouting and kind of just doing what your heart feels, and you can kind of find your balance as you go along. But as long as, like, you're taking a route that's like with your heart and like what you genuinely feel pulled to, I feel like that's a more, for me at least, it's a better route for me to take, like, not really knowing what I'm doing, but I know, like, I feel it feels right. And maybe like logically I'm like, I don't know like what's really going on, but yeah, having the feeling and then letting the logic come second. And I hope that, I think as I'm talking about this, I'm like, will you get like what I mean by that intuitive feeling? Because I know it's not, I mean, it's taken like years for me to actually be able to hear myself. And so I'm like, will you guys know what I'm talking about? But I'm expressing myself authentically, and the perception is up to y'all. Okay, I think I'm done talking. Here's a bar. I think everyone is asleep now. When you're in the mirror, do you like what you see? Guys, I'm obsessed with the Charlie XCX album. I literally think that I literally just, anyways, I think that she's bringing back 2000s like club music becoming like mainstream. And I'm obsessed. Like, like whenever we were kids and on the radio, it was literally like 24/7. Like, pop music was like club music, like Pitbull, Calvin Harris, like those were our like daily bangers, like morning drive or listening to club music. And I miss that so much because I was like, bro, that's when life was good. Like, every day was a party. Like, LMFAO on the radio in the morning. But honestly, I miss it because I feel like life was so much better. And I think Charlie XCX, like, she gives, like, her music is like club. Like, we're in the club, but it's also like a little bit poppy. It's like we can be on the radio. Like, anyways, I'm here for that revival. I'm here. I'm right here. I'm so curious what people are going to think of this episode, which literally goes against everything I was freaking saying. I encourage you to reflect on something in your life that you feel resistant towards and see, like deep dive into what it really is. And also, I would encourage you to reflect on ways to be more of your authentic self and express yourself in a way that you won't regret when you're 80. I'm everywhere. I'm so Julia. Oh my god, y'all remember this trend? Guys, okay, I'm never gonna end this podcast episode at this point. But do y'all remember this trend when what was it? Was it the something George Justice, Orange Justice? When they used to do it. What it was? I'm everywhere. I'm so Julia. Let's see, obsessions right now. I'm obsessed with Beta Squad. Every single meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner. what I'm doing is I'm making dinner, I'm gathering my lunch, I'm putting it on a plate, whatever, whatever, getting my water, getting my juice, and I'm sitting down, I'm putting on a Beta Squad video. It's true bliss. It's true bliss. It's true bliss. Anyways, okay, I think I'm gonna end the episode here.